before I even touch a logo, design a website, or even run Facebook ads. This is the AI-driven product research system that I use to find profitable niches. And this is the exact system that I use to create my brand store that now makes over $60,000 in monthly revenue. And honestly, this isn't a flex or some theory. This is the actual battle-tested system that I use to find winning products. And the way to win in e-commerce long-term is to not to just research products for Shopify, but also Amazon. Because the goal here is to build a brand that can sell on Shopify and maybe later on Amazon as well. And that doesn't work if you're relying on short-lived, hype-driven products with no real market demand. And that's why we need to research for real customer demand. We'll go over the exact step-by-step here on my e-com market research framework. And we'll start by prompting ChatGPT. So I'm just going to copy this prompt over here. And by the way, the access to this Miro board is down in the description. So I've just copied that prompt into ChatGPT and I've replaced it with the supplement niche. And the reason I'm looking at supplements as an example is because historically, supplements have a strong year-over-year demand due to people becoming more health and wellness conscious. So it's a constant pain that people are trying to find a solution for. And I'm also looking for a product which has a good CAGR and year-over-year growth. So we'll just put that in here. So you can see that ChatGPT has come back with a few suggestions. The highest one obviously being probiotics. It's showing a CAGR forecast of 14.1% and it's given a demand rating of 9 out of 10. So the other one is dietary fibers, again, which sort of comes under the prebiotics or the probiotics. So these could be some good options that I could go with. So I'm not going to just take ChatGPT's word for it. This will form the basis of my research, but we're just getting started. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy probiotics over here. We'll come back to our Miro board. So the next thing we want to do, which is step 2, is we want search demand validation. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to identify strong search demand, which signals market intent. And for that, we'll go to Keyword Planner. Now, Keyword Planner is a free tool provided by Google. So I'll just put that in here, probiotics. And I'm going to do this based off of monthly searches. And I will look at this worldwide. So I'll just take up the United States filter. So this will look at worldwide, all locations. And I'll also change this to the last 24 months. So what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing a nice healthy graph with good year-over-year demand. So we're looking at around 11 million searches worldwide for probiotics and keywords related to probiotics. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick a few keywords. So I'll take probiotics. I'll pick probiotics for gut health, probiotics for women, probiotic supplements. So I'll also take this term, which is prebiotics, and then okay. All right, so we'll just pick a few other keywords over here. So maybe gut health supplements, maybe baby probiotics, infant probiotics. So I'm trying to create a list of keywords. And what I can do is I can save these keywords to create a plan. So I've just saved all of these keywords. And as you can see, there's around 1.7 million searches that are happening every month worldwide, right? So what I can also do is I can see what the breakdown of locations are. And I'm seeing immediately that United States has the highest consumption, over 46%, with UK at 8.6%. So what I'll do is I'll change my location maybe just to the United States. And immediately you can see that it shows me based off of the states, and California is the highest at 12.2%, followed by Texas. And I can almost guarantee that I can take these top 5 states and then go into Facebook and I can put this there and maybe create a targeting campaign just targeting these locations. And you'd almost immediately see a positive ROAS compared to if you did the entire United States. Another thing to keep in mind is that these average monthly searches, as it says here, they're just average, right? So your searches could be much higher than this just because Google will not show your ads just for probiotics. So they'll probably show your ads for other related search terms as well. But the monthly searches is a good starting point, and it does give you a clear indication of what the searches would look like. Okay, so once we've validated that there is a healthy demand year over year, looking at the last 2 years, let's move on to the Miro board. And the next step that we're going to do is we're going to do a bit more of a market analysis, and we're going to use this app called Particle. Now, by the way, I'm not affiliated to Particle, so if you guys want to just take a free trial and then just close the account in like 7 days or something, then go for it. So what I'm looking for is the trend analysis. So I'll just go down here, see if there's, okay, so we see dietary supplements over here. And this is something that I would look at. So the mean price compared to looking at all the competitors is around $37. Now, this is going to help us in our pricing strategy when we start our own brand store. So the next thing I want to see is the market size, which is 3.9 billion, which is really good. And I'd also want to see the trend. So it looks like over the last 2 years, it's actually increased year over year. So that's something that I should take note of. And the other thing, the most important thing that I would look at is also the competitors. Right now, what I'm seeing is that when you come to the market share over here, it looks like Utsi Naturals is maybe one of the top competitors with around 26% of the market share, which is good because what I'm seeing here is that there isn't a single competitor with more than 50% of the market share. And what that also tells me is that this niche is not saturated yet. So I could pretty much just come in as a new entrant and I could start making sales. But we don't stop there. We have to confirm this market research. So what I'll do is I'll come back to our Miro board over here. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to look for competitors on both Google and Amazon. So I'm going to be looking for 2 small competitors and 2 big competitors. Now, the reason we do this is because the small competitors are going to tell us how easy it is to enter into this market. And the big competitors are going to show us the long-term viability of making profits over the next 2 to 5 years. Because guys, like remember, we are not trying to go and find a hype product which sells for 1 month and then it's dead the next month. So rather what we're trying to do here is we want a nice gradual increase in demand year over year where we can constantly sell our products to customers month over month. So what I can do is I'll just come to Amazon and I'll search for probiotics. I'll do the same on Google. So when I'm searching for probiotics, it's coming up with a few different competitors. And as you can see, I do know Seed, they are a really big brand. So they would be a big competitor essentially. So as you can see, they're doing around 40,000 units in sales in the last month alone. Another big competitor is Ritual as well. They're doing around 10,000 in the past month. So I'm just going to click on both of these. And then I'll try and find maybe some smaller competitors as well. Okay, so I've just found 2 other smaller competitors. So one of them is Biome or bio.me. They did around 1,000 units in sales in the last month alone. And the second smaller competitor is Proper or Proper Health. And they did around 1,000 units in the last month. So what I'm looking for particularly is just the reviews, right? So you can see like 390 reviews, not a lot to compete with. But here's another tiny little hack which you can use to find out when they started selling on Amazon. So what I'll do is I'll go and click on this review over here. I'll just go to see more reviews. And the next thing I can do is I can do it based off of most recent. And I'm just going to scroll all the way to the end of the page. So I'm here at the end of the page and we see that the first review they got was June 29th, 2024. Looks like they started selling about a year and a half ago. So we'll do the same thing for Proper Health. I'll go to the reviews, scroll all the way down here and go to see more reviews. And then I'll do it based off of most recent and just scroll to the very last page. Okay, so this is the last page and it looks like they started selling this around the 9th of August 2025. So that's less than 6 months. And to be honest, they're doing 1,000 units a month starting just less than 6 months ago. So next thing I want to do is also go to their website here. So this is for Proper Health and this is for Biome. So what I want to do is I want to take this website and see when they created their Shopify store. So for that, I'm going to use this Wayback Machine. Now, Wayback Machine is like an internet archive. So it takes snapshots of the internet and it gives you an idea of when they started the website, basically. So I'll just post this URL here. Okay, so we see that They started their website around 2025. Don't pay attention to this. It just means that their website has sort of changed hands. So what you want to focus on is where they did a lot of the activities, right? So 2025 seems to be that point. So I'm going to click on 2025 over here, and I'll just take a look at a snapshot of their website. So I'll click on that on Feb 2025. So this is what their website looked in Feb 2025. So it's safe to say that they've been in business for only about a year. So what I'll do next is I'll also look at our second competitor, which is Biome. So you can see that Biome's website is probably a little bit older compared to Proper Health. And we can see that their website started maybe around end of 2023, beginning of 2024. But either which ways, what this tells us is that both of our newer competitors, they are less than or around a year to 2 years old, and which is really good. So once we've found that our newer competitors started quite recently, we'll come back to our Miro board. And the next thing we want to do is we want to do a bit of a sales analysis, which is step 5 of our competitors. Now for sales analysis, I use this app called Shop Hunter. So if you want to just get the app, try it for like 7 days and then cancel your subscription, then that's totally fine. So I've already added these shops to my collection. So one thing I can do is I'll just go over and view these shops. So what we see is that they're doing around $250,000 a month, which is pretty good, and around $10,000 a day, right? So if we check the SKUs over here, so it looks like they have around 8 SKUs, more or less, 8, 9 SKUs. So it's not too bad. The next thing I can do is I can take a look at their Facebook ads, the type of ads that they're running, which brings us to the next step, which is the Facebook ads library. So I'm just going to go click on this here. And clearly the first thing that I see is that it seems like they're doing quite a few UGC ads.
Introducing Proper's newest superfood.
Okay, so they're doing quite a few UGC ads. They don't seem to have any sort of static ads. So this is where, to get some extra insight, I can go directly to the Facebook ads library and I will just look for probiotic. Okay, so it brings me a bunch of ads that are related to probiotic. And by the way, guys, this is step number 6 in our market research. I'm just taking a look at some of these ads. So we do have some UGC ads over here. I'm looking at some really nasty ads, like these really lazy ads essentially. Some UGC ads again. So the reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying to find out if any of our competitors are running like sort of like a high production ad, where they have lots of production, where they have like these crazy animations or whatnot, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So most of it just seems to be UGC and a few image ads essentially, which we can easily create on Canva, or we can even hire an influencer, like a micro influencer, pay them like $100 to make 2 or 3 ads essentially. Okay, so far I have all the market insights, but I still don't know who my core audience are. And this is where I use this AI called GenSpark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, just copy all of this prompt. And by the way, the access to the Miro board is down in the description, so check it out, and it's got all of the prompts in there. So I'm just going to come to GenSpark, paste the prompt and put in probiotic supplements. And GenSpark is essentially a super AI agent. So what it does is it can analyze Amazon reviews, it can look at Reddit posts, it will look at the exact pain points of our customers, their purchase triggers, and even give us branding suggestions as well. So this AI really helps you understand your core customer demographics. So I'm just going to run this real quick. And by the way, GenSpark also assigns these agents, these individual agents, to go and do a deep research, and it also assigns their own resources. So it's pretty good for customer analysis. All right, so it's come back with our customer profile, and initially what we can see is, so it's around 25 to 50 years old. Strongest concentration is around 30 to 50. We also see a gender split, and it's telling me that women represent a growing segment, which makes sense. And the sort of lifestyle traits as well, health conscious individuals. So as I said, like obviously people who are more health conscious, wellness conscious, they're the ones who are buying this product. So we see the primary motivation here is that customers are seeking to resolve persistent digestive discomfort, which is the same thing for me. So I do take prebiotics and probiotics, and that's one of the reasons why, because of gut health. And it also looks like the motivation is 73% health-based rather than vanity or trend-driven. And this is perfect over here because we want a product that actually solves a pain point rather than it being trendy or just for a vanity metric. So here's some frustrations. So we see lack of visible results, product quality, overwhelming choices, premium pricing, and we also have a few other factors that create trust. So it looks like third-party testing and verification is pretty big, and we could probably find dropshippers out there which are like these big factories and they have all of these third-party testing and verification certifications. Finally, some customer pain points. So it didn't do anything for me, too expensive with unclear value. So it looks like some people are finding the product maybe too expensive, and it's fine. I don't mind pricing this product at like maybe $30 or even $20, because the reason is if I'm running a subscription and if people are just automatically purchasing it month after month, then it doesn't matter even if I'm running my marketing campaigns at a loss, because at the end of the day, the customer lifetime value is what matters. So here are some emotional outcomes. So it's confidence to eat without fear. We also have some language that customers constantly use. So bloating, uncomfortable after eating, nothing seems to help, so on and so forth. So coming over to our brand positioning, it looks like people are more likely to buy from you if you have clinical credibility. And again, as I said, like if we find a good dropshipper, they will more or less have these clinical studies that they could give us. And also look in the color psychology, it looks like clean whites, soft blues, greens convey the clinical trust. And this is probably why, guys, if you look at our top competitors here, so when you look at Ritual over here, they have like a nice clean design, just a nice gray. Same thing with Seed as well. They have a nice clean green design. So it looks like if we're going to be doing our branding, this is what we should be going for, like a nice professional, nice green or a blue sort of design. Now that we have all of our customer insights, we move on to the final step, which is product sourcing. So one of the websites that I use for dropshipping supplements is Supplyful. So I'm just going to look for probiotic here. So immediately it tells me that the price of the product is around $4 to $8, which is pretty good, because if we have a good healthy margin, we're selling it for around $30 or $29, then that does give us a really good margin. I'll also check OK Capsule over here, and I'll just go to their product catalog. So if you look at their probiotic capsules, it's around $4.80 for 30 days or 30 capsules, which again is a really good margin. So if you were to sell this for around $30, all of that is just profit. And you can see why the supplement niche is quite good, especially if you target a very narrow audience instead of going all out on every supplement there is. And in my opinion, guys, it's always better to test the market for a month using dropshippers before deciding to find a manufacturer to make these supplements for you. So at the end of this process, this is where I make a decision after looking at real demand, steady market growth, manageable competition, and realistic margins. Because this is the boring part most people skip, and this is what saves money in the long run. Once this is locked in, that's when your branding and ad strategy becomes a lot more cohesive. If you've watched this video this far and you found it helpful, then let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. Maybe in the next video, I'll show you how I turn this research into a brand guideline using AI, which includes all of your brand colors, your brand typography, and even a professional logo. A branding agency will probably charge you around $30,000 for this, but I'll show you exactly how to do it step by step using AI. So drop a like, subscribe, and thank you for watching.